So yeah, really excited to do a spaces today to talk with Gabe about his artwork, his kind of inspiration behind the project, and jumping into the Avalanche ecosystem. So definitely want to start off by giving Gabe a quick chance to introduce himself to anybody here that hasn't met you yet. So if you want to give a quick intro, that'd be great.
Awesome. Yeah. Gabe Weis, been an artist for pretty much my whole life, but have become a professional artist just in the last year. About a year and a half ago, I was lucky enough to get into NFTs, and it's been a pretty awesome rocket ship since then, as far as my art career. Gone to about like 100 NFT events. Um, had quite a bit of success, but I'm just super looking forward to this drop and being here on Avalanche. I've only been here a couple weeks, but the welcome has sort of been mind blowing and very heartwarming.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, welcome, and I'm really glad the community is welcomed you in with open arms. So let's just bring up other two hosts here from the Av Labs team. Dom, you want to give a quick intro?
Yeah, so I'm Dominic with Avalabs. I head up NFTs, art and culture here. I've met probably a lot of you via Spaces already, but if we have not met, really great to meet you all, and super excited for today and the upcoming weeks here.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for jumping in. I know it's early on your side. And Dan, you want to say hello?
Yeah, thanks. My name is Dan. Pleasure being able to talk to you guys. I know I've been DMing a lot of you guys over the last year and a half or so. So really excited to have this opportunity up here. And thanks again, Gabe, for coming on. I'm really excited how far this has progressed.
Yeah, it's gonna really excited for the discussion today. So Dan or Dominic, either one of you kind of want to kick it off. I know you guys have been talking to Gabe a bunch and wanted to talk about some few things. So I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah. I think the first question I wanted to start off with is what's the story behind Conscious Lines? Such a cool, unique name. How did that come to be?
The name, um, to be honest, I have a buddy, Ali Sabet. He's one of the top selling NFT artists in the world. Best most of his life, and so we're batting around name after name of just like what I'm trying to convey here. And uh he he was the one. I got to give him credit because he was like, I think it's Conscious Lines, and thought about it for a day, and I was like, it really is feels like that. It's just like what I make is sort of jazz, so it's this kind of stream of consciousness meets trying to put intention on the paper and let it kind of let my art flow out. Um, and the collection is like 16 years in the making. I think the oldest piece I did is from '06 in the collection. And that was like my first kind of drawing with Cubism that really felt like it hit and that I liked personally a lot. And so it's pretty, this whole collection is very personal. It's kind of that journey of 10,000 hours where I was obsessed with doing it, but my first like, drawing in meetings, like hour after hour, day after day, it just, I think it got better over time. And so this is kind of like this collection is sort of that journey, I guess, is the best way to describe it.
That's awesome to hear. Well, thank you for having us a part of that journey. And I'm a fan of anybody who has a 10,000 hours work ethic. That's something I think we all look to strive for. So kudos to you for putting in that 10,000 hours. How do you feel this project fits into your larger or broader body of work?
I mean, this is kind of what started it, right? So these drawings, before I've become pretty popular for these very large paintings and all this color and whatnot. but this feels this is where I make painting during it. But these first drawings were kind of the first time I feel like I really captured what I wanted my art to look like. So it, as far as it's both like what I'm still doing to this day, but also like yeah, the first love when it comes to art.
And I guess a question off that is like, how did you become an artist? How did you find that first love? What got you into just going, in on the hours of drawing lines and that those lines leading to your story? How did those lines come to be?
Uh, it's it's weird. It's kind of always felt like a like I just had to do it. I've been one of those people who the only way they can really learn is to be writing down. So I would just tell people before every meeting, "Hey, I'm going to draw, but this is how I listen." And it's almost like meditation. Let slash like letting me actually listen to people with my ADD a little bit. Um, so um, yeah, it it's like I'm trying to make these artifacts that are sort of timeless and come from multiple cultures, and a caveman could understand it, or someone 10,000 years into the future. And so, I
Totally.
mean, with that in mind, it's like that's kind of the look I'm going for, but then I kind of just let the pen do the work as far as how I'm thinking about it.
No, that's a great. I like that the ability to transcend through multiple generations, and the feeling still resonates with the consumer of the art. That's actually I haven't heard somebody say something like that before. It's kind of usually people are stuck in their own time frames and not seeing beyond that or seeing past that. I guess kind of tie into that last question. Who or what inspires you to get into these states where you can create what you create best?
I mean, from an art perspective, I've always been obviously had a lot of influence from Picasso and Basquiat, George Condo, but as far as inspiration, it's it's really like come from this place of I'm worth it. This is my dream. You have to put in the work if you want to achieve your dreams. And like, so it's this place of just kind of that 10,000 hours. I'm just always obsessed with improving my craft no matter what I'm doing. And so this is sort of the embodiment of that and that journey for this collection. But just generally, a lot of my work is just without going to art school. It's been like, how do I get better at this? What do I do? How do I learn? And so it's just kind of a lifelong journey.
Right on. That's awesome, man. That's awesome. And um, where do you generally create this? Because I know when we met, we kind of had this. You put on this awesome event for people in the audience. Gabe rented out a place, and I think like Upper East Side, or sorry, Upper West Side, Midtown, where it's just basically a full studio where he could put his drawings on an easel, and people would come in, and then other creatives would go ahead and paint. But um, and by the way, thank you again for having me. That was an awesome opportunity. Um, what do you usually create? Where are you usually creating at home? Do you have a proper studio? Do you have certain avenues or tool sets that you like to work with? What's like the workflow kind of look like on a day to day? Are you listening to music, or do you have like other like hangout spots that you go to and let everything flow through?
Lately, I've been so busy, so a lot of times I'm on phone calls while painting, but my preference is to be listening to music, um, a lot of hip hop, some jazz. I mean, I like everything, but there's something about that kind of like upbeat, and something about like rap, like Pusha T or Jay-Z, or people that make you feel yourself, so you have that confidence in your brushstrokes and can really just let go. Um, I have a two-car garage that I converted into a studio, and so that's where I am an absurd amount of the time, is in my garage here in the Bay Area.
You got a favorite Jay-Z album? Or I know we saw Pusha T together, but you got a favorite Jay-Z album or song?
Black Album, probably.
Yeah.
It's just good all the way through. Moment of Clarity, probably.
Yeah, Rick Rubin at his finest. The ability to string in pretty intensive rap lyrics with old school rock is still one of the coolest things I think he's ever done. Before NFTs, like, what were you doing? You mentioned you're creating, but did you have any other side professions, or was art kind of the full-time gig or job prior to this whole explosion of digital
No,
art?
art was always the side, just passion. I was working kind of absurd hours in politics and community organizing. Right before this, I was working for the California School Board Association, trying to get more funding for schools. Prior to that, I worked as a political slash community organizer for like one of the largest unions in California, SEIU, representing state workers. I used to work in the Senate prior to that. So it's almost exactly a year ago I quit my job. It was sort of a big deal on ETH because people couldn't believe I was working that whole time while kind of being one of the most recognizable faces on NFTs and living on Clubhouse. But I just, I'm passionate about being a change agent. I really do think kids deserve to go to better schools than they go to now. And so there's always that rub of trying to make an impact. But lately I've kind of come around to the fact that I can make a huge impact through NFTs. And it's one of the big reasons I'm here in Avalanche. I think the chance to make an impact is pretty substantial when you just look at the tech and the kind of really cool, nice community that's been growing here.
Yeah, I totally agree. That's kind of what I was going to ask. My next point is like, what impact are you looking to provide to the Avalanche community? But you kind of answered that a little bit, but
Happy to go into it more.
Yeah, yeah, and also, like, what have you seen thus far from the community that has been really like exciting from you?
It gives me these, so like last February, March, kind of right before Beeple sold for 69 million, like his pieces. There's this energy of new people that is really contagious. I mean, ETH kind of blew up so much right after that it's just harder to know everyone, to kind of get a full understanding of an ecosystem. So I think, like, so far what I've noticed is like there's just a lot of that where people are just so bullish and so into Avalanche and building, and that part's super exciting. Um, I think as far as your first question, sorry, it's a little early in the morning, and I'm not a morning person. I'm chugging
No,
this Red Bull to try to get there.
Don't worry. Thank you for being up early as is. Yeah, just generally, what is the what excitement or what energy have you gotten out of the Avalanche community? And again, I know for a few people on the host stage, it's pretty early for them too. So thank you all again for coming up at this hour.
I mean, it's been incredible. I mean, the fact that I already have for my next kind of collection is a collab with Chicken, who has such an amazing, welcoming community. The fact that I'm here with all of you at Ava Labs. I mean, the fact that like I just sent a drawing to Amin, and I was DMing with him. It's not like Vitalik from Ethereum is shooting me a DM, or
Right.
like I just think like or like official Ethereum is out holding a spaces for me sort of thing. So I just think like I couldn't have asked for more. There's a few uncharitable takes or people expecting me to be like a super maxi, like 100% fidelity to Avalanche sort of thing. I guess I view it more as I think the potential here is absurdly high as an artist. Like if you're getting royalties for life, when you put art on a blockchain, you're really betting on that blockchain. And I got asked a lot to go into some other blockchains, but like they didn't really scratch that itch for me. Um, but here, to be honest, I give a lot of credit to a guy in the community, Average Andy, who put some podcast on from All Access just on the podcast app. So like after I met Joe Pegs at NFT NYC, it was like from listening to those like 6 episodes that I feel like I really decided like this is a place I can really grow. These are folks that really get scalability, and the environmental impact is huge. To not, I mean, I spent almost like $100K in gas last year between airdrops and
absurd.
stuff. So it's like that money can be spent better places with some really cool tech. So I guess I view this as sort of part of something I really want to grow. And reach out to new collectors, but build with the devs here. And yeah, I'm obviously super bullish, or I wouldn't be here.
I thank you for the kind answer, and yeah, no, I totally agree. I've done some ETH collecting as well, and it's pretty painful to see all the hype kind of generate into that realm, and then you're paying 200,000, 300,000 plus taxes at the end of the year between gas and taxes. It's quite the trip overall. Maybe we can focus in on like Conscious Lines' collection as a whole here. Can you tell us a little bit about some of the custom Avalanche pieces you've been making? Because I know in a lot of your promotion and what you've been posting online has, like, just for example, your picture is a red outline triangle, but you've done some other cool red triangle custom additions into your work. So I was just wondering, how have you been approaching this, and what should people expect to see by the end of the day?
So there's 11 legendaries, or AVAX Alpha, I think we call them, in the collection. And they will come with the original drawing after probably give it 2 weeks in case there's any trading kind of beforehand for those pieces. But I think we'll see. I'm really for right now, I guess where I'm at with this collection is like I always want to like under promise and over deliver versus the other way around. And so this is art. It's one of these things where I've been very consistent in that, like, if you can't afford this drop, there will be other drops. Like, my financial advice for all NFTs is like only spend what you can afford to lose, sort of thing. But that said, I'm personally putting a ton of effort into making sure it's a success. And so far, the kind of response from the community has just been overwhelmingly amazing.
No, that's yeah. We definitely respect everything you've done, and I think that goes into the 10,000 hours. Have you found that with integrating more with our community and getting more involved, people are getting more receptive as time goes on?
I think I think there's some people that are a little territorial still, which I fully get. I was similar in ETH when big names came in and it looked like a cash grab. I mean, I'm trying to send as many signals as possible, whether it's official partnerships and collabs with Chicken, who I think has gotten a really good reputation here. I've got some other projects sort of lined up with some of the big builders in the community. I think I won't share much, but just like arrogant here, I know I was working on something that I'm excited to work and contribute to. So yeah, I think it's pretty exciting what we can build together, and like I plan on trying to grow with as many of the cool people that I've met so far. I mean, I've really put in the hours on spaces
Right.
to feel like I have a pretty decent understanding of the ecosystem, but it's only 2-3 weeks, so you can always learn a ton more than I have. But I've put in as much work as I possibly could.
Very cool. Very cool. And then the next few questions are just going to be more about like your work as a whole. You're a cubist, self-proclaimed cubist. A lot of cubist work is based on like perspective. Do you feel that your perspective is changing while you're generating your work? And if so, how does it change? Or is it kind of just like you said, it's more flowing as you go through it?
Yeah, it's definitely more flowing. Like there's lately, I mean, I've been drawing some chickens the last couple of days for the next collection, and so that's a little different in that it's like not my exact normal thing. It's more like, you know, putting it a little bit into the box of making a chicken. But generally, it's more like jazz, where it just flows out, and I'm just confident that it'll work out after so many hours and hours of kind of making them. But it's also like art, so I don't. It's low stakes in the sense of if I mess up, it's like
Yeah.
my studio is filled with mess ups, so it's not like it doesn't happen.
That's actually really sedating and relaxing to hear that. I think a lot of people are always under pressure, but as an artist, it's just start again, right? And you'll find your way. Something beautiful in that. Uh, Part of the promotion we saw yourself with your work with the Paris Hilton piece. Paris Hilton holding one of your pieces. So you posted pictures with like Gary Vee in the past and other celebrities, other influential people. Who's one person you'd like to share your work with the most? Doesn't have to be a celebrity. Who would you like your work to be seen by?
I mean, I guess it's just really how I think about it, as many possible people. I mean, I think one of the amazing thing about NFTs is that it really does span the world. I've got some big shows that I'm going to be doing in Korea this year. Been working with a guy who runs the major newspaper in Seoul. Like, I just think there's not too many people I wouldn't want to see my work. But we'll say George Condo is one of the more famous cubist artists in the world. It'd be awesome for him to see it.
I wish I knew that in advance. We could have maybe reached out to George Condo and got him, behind.
He's in New York City. I think he's super close to where you all are.
No kidding. No
Yeah.
kidding. All right. Well,
hook it up.
Hook it up. I got some homework for the weekend. Maybe go to a couple galleries. Yeah,
awesome.
that'd be really interesting if we can make that possible by the end of the year. Another point in your work are there's a lot of faces involved in the work. Is there any attachment to these faces? Are they people, or are they kind of just abstract in the universe as a whole? Have you ever drawn people you met in your work, like subconsciously?
I mean, subconsciously, I'm sure a lot of times I'll draw in front of people and they're like, "You just made me." I'm like, sure I did. I mean, art's pretty subjective, but I wouldn't say it's like one particular person ever. But I also love the fact that if someone interprets that like I give them full reign to have those feelings, and it's one of the reasons why I kind of struggle sometimes to want to talk and put too much of my meaning into it, because like the amount of interpretations I've heard over the years of what the art means for different people is just so wide and interesting. But I hate to put stuff in a box that limits people's own imagination.
And off that point, where do you think your imagination can take you? Kind of more of a abstract question, but just general like advice. Any advice for anybody on what the imagination can do? I know it's a pretty deep question.
Yeah, it's a good question. I think it's truly limitless. I think it's like what gets you to that place, Is it spiritual journeys? Is it medicine? Um is it talking to really wise people? But I think it's like there's no limit to it. And it's a huge part of my whole ethos is like our potential is very limitless as a people. We just need to kind of change the status quo. And like, I guess I view both my community organizing work and then the work I do in NFTs is like sort of being in the empowering business. And I think one thing I've noticed a little bit on Avalanche is like it's a healthy mix of people who are super excited, but I do think there's some people who could use a little bit of like this just feeling of like si se puede, like yes we can, and to have a little bit more of a feeling of empower, like they're empowered to make the change personally, to get their work out there, to do more to kind of help grow the whole ecosystem. So, I just think the more we're helping each other and lifting each other up instead of tearing each other down in the 160 words, better off we are as a society and definitely as an Avalanche ecosystem.
Would agree, especially on the last note. Collaborative and cooperative, as well as compassionate, are ways that we all get there. And then I think on the last C, curiosity, we managed to get there through that limitless experience, having a blockchain that doesn't have to worry about scalability. I think is going to be really exciting for us going forward. But it does require that community to drive the ball forward and get excited and not have any doubts in what they can create, and just try to push the narrative forward, push the blockchain forward into its next gear. So I just have one more question. Talking more about community. Is there anybody in the community you want to give a direct shout out to? Anybody that you've been, jamming or vibing out with, DMing, that you've been, really, really connecting with?
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna miss some people because it's been a large amount of folks, and some people I am really crappy with names around. But I mean, some people on the top of the list, arrogant, has been insanely helpful to me. If you don't know, AVAX arrogant. I mean, I would be shocked if anyone on the stage doesn't. But um, there just isn't an equivalent on Ethereum where someone who knows everything is super helpful and up all the time to try to help. So like huge props to arrogant. Johnny um, has host of the Power Hour has been just so warm and welcoming me and putting me on stages and asking really thoughtful questions. I think kind of what he does for the community is hard to hard to put into words, like how important I think it is to start building that culture and building just that camaraderie that I think he's just incredible at. Devil K has had to deal with this hug list for the last couple of weeks, which I don't recommend for anyone's health. There's just been so much interest and so many people worried if they didn't make it and double, triple checking. And so he's also someone when I have been upset, he's just like, it's going to sell out. It's going to work out great. You're an amazing artist. Don't worry about anything. And like the more, I don't know, artists are a little bit sometimes up and down when it comes to emotion. So like his even keelness plus just hard work is just deserving of the utmost praise. Um, Candace, who isn't here, but like she's incredibly warm and kind of took me in on my saddest day in Avalanche when I felt a little attacked. She kind of brought me into a room, told her stories, and kind of deserves a ton of credit, I think, for what she does here. I'm so bad with names, but
Uncertain. Yeah, I think I call him.
Uncertain.
Yeah, I call him
Yeah.
uncertain too. Uncertainly,
All
I call
right.
him uncertain.
Uncertain has been super helpful for this whole launch. Kind of also dealing with me in DMs and Discord, but like just someone that I have a lot of respect for is hustle and what they're putting in. Crypto Nachi here. There's just I know I'm gonna miss so many people. John Galt, like there's just been a group of people that have gone out of their way to like try to get my work out there and have conversations and ask why I'm here and how we can build together. The other one that I think deserves an absurd amount of credit is Tap Tap Kaboom, who's been, I think, one of the top artists in this whole space. And like on day 2 or something, I reached out and he got on a call with me instantly. It's like, anything I can do to help. We batted around some ideas. Like, it's this abundance mindset that I think will take this chain incredibly far. I know when number goes down, there's a lot of anxiety that goes along with it. And that's a time where some people get sort of territorial or worried about any new people. And just the fact that he just kind of embraced me, went out of his way to help and promote and be there to give me support. As you just like, you see it with NFT artists, you do not see it whatsoever in the real world with artists. And I just think it's that abundance mindset of like, more is more. Let's get more people here. Let's like build more. And instead of being worried about what change looks like, I think Tap Tap Kaboom just like embodies that and is really good at educating folks too. So I think he's just like a really huge asset for your whole chain, if I'm being honest. J1's here, has been insanely kind and generous. Hodel, Avax is someone I've gotten to know recently through these rooms and really appreciate what he does. I mean, I don't know if you've seen it I'm sure you have a little bit on Twitter, but the amount of people is way too much to go through, I guess. And
Yeah.
one little thing, it's one of these things where I really feel like I should go on for 10 more hours because like, it's just been very heartwarming, I guess is the best way to describe it. Just so many people that have put in the extra mile and given me the benefit of the doubt so far that just, yeah, really. Naldo here, I think, was like the first person I ever met on Avalanche, and right away was warm and helpful and pointing me in the right direction. Dominic here got on calls with me right away, and like what he does for your chain, I think, is pretty incredible as far as what's his hands in and how much he cares. So, yeah, I guess I'll stop at that. But
Yeah,
if
we don't have any.
no.
We don't
If
have
I
any
missed you, I love you. Yeah, exactly.
I think
Gong
it's a
me
good.
out.
I think it's a good transition point too. So it's been great hearing the story, your personal story. I know a lot of people maybe have been hearing this for the first time. Maybe this has been the tenth time I've seen you in Spaces a lot. So, but we're gonna kind of turn over here to a little bit of Q&A from the crowd. I know you have another Spaces in 25 minutes, so I want to be conscious of that. We'll probably do about 10 minutes of Q&A here. Give you about a 15-minute break before you head over to the next one. I know you started early.
Thanks.
So just want to
appreciate it. I got to take the kids to school. My wife's out of town, so that's my little take the kids to school window. So, but I would love to answer some questions, and I'll try to be quick in my responses.
Yeah, those back to backs can be rough. So we're gonna do questions. Questions will be related to Gabe and the project. Just want to make that clear. If people start coming up asking, questions about other projects or trying to promote stuff, we're not doing that. We want to make sure that this is about Gabe, about the project, maybe about his personal story, anything related to that. We'll be having questions on that. So I see Arrogant. I'm going to go ahead and let you up here. Just connecting in. Hey, Arrogant, can you hear us?
Yo. Yeah, I hear you guys.
Awesome, man. How you doing?
Hey, doing all right this morning, man. Just excited to hear Gabe on the stage here and really excited for the mint coming up.
Awesome. Do you have a question for Gabe? Maybe a comment about what you just heard? Any type of color or flavor to add?
No question specifically, as I've been able to, ask several over the past weeks here. I could make a comment on just, my hats off, to have, he's dealt with several different points of view from, several different places, and just to accept all of that and handle it the way he has, it's very admirable. And, I'm glad to have him here. I'm sure a lot of other people are. So just really excited to see how the mint goes today. And, congratulations getting to this point.
Awesome.
I already said it, but greatly appreciate you, brother.
Thank you, man.
Thanks for that. I'm excited for this mint today too. It's going to be a good one. I think next up we have Snowy here. Hey, Snowy, how's it going? I know you're loading in.
Hey there. Can all hear me?
Hey, Snowy.
Excellent. Okay.
Can you hear us?
Yeah. So
Yep.
I know you had mentioned that there's different rarities or different colors that indicate different rarities, or the chicken ones. But do you think, and this is all speculation, that the earlier pieces will be more rare? Some of the ones that you made, what was it, 16 years ago, something like that?
I think I will just say I gamified it, I think, pretty well. There's different rarity traits, there's years, there's the paper it was on or the materials used. There's obviously the legendaries. There's some that are, historically my one of ones have gone for a lot, and I think there's 37 in this collection, which is the most one of ones. I think that's probably more than I've put out so far, or at least pretty close. I haven't done a ton of one of ones. So I will just say, I think it's one of these weird things where like with Bored Apes, for example, it's people kind of found their own traits that they liked in the community, and it really had less to do with rarity scores and more about, was the community sort of formed around that piece or that style, or does the community decide that they're all, there's different ones that have addition sizes. So the community could decide if it's a 10 of 10 that whoever has the 1 of 10 has the rarest one or the best one. It could be someone who has 10 of 10. I think could just be lucky number 7. I think I set it up to let the community in some ways kind of push what they want to champion and what they is valuable, without being too over the top with that, where it's just so obvious. I think other than the legendaries, everyone else will be a little bit subjective. There'll be different edition sizes, but it might be a larger edition size, but be a chicken or be something that people like more. And so I'm super excited for the reveal. We're doing a Joe Pigs party on Monday as the reveal, and I think it'll be pretty exciting for people once they kind of see all that.
Yeah,
awesome.
very excited.
Did you have any other?
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt, but how do you know Paris Hilton, or what is that relationship there?
It's not I don't want to oversell it like it's some super deep one. I got invited to like a dinner with like 12 people um, for Origin Protocol, which is like an NFT platform that Paris had invested in. So we were there and I was drawing for everyone else. And she was like, she asked for a drawing. I was like, sure. And I did one. And then she was like, you want a video? Like, yes, are you kidding? Like, I wouldn't have had the guts to ask. And then she does it, kind of uses her tagline, Gabe, that's hot. And then I was talking to her manager and she's like, she just gave you $1 million promo for free. It's like, that's incredible. I appreciate it. Um, so it's, I don't want to oversell it like me and Paris are besties by any stretch of the imagination, but she was incredibly warm and generous with her time and spent a lot of time with us talking. And so eh, I I don't know what my impression was her prior, but I will just say after meeting her, she's a good example of like I think looks or personas can be deceiving because like she had no reason to go out of her way to be nice to me, and she did. So, you know, I can only respect that.
Very cool. Thanks for your time. Very excited.
Thanks for the question, Snowy. All right, gonna bring up Friends Forest. Had some spaces with them. They were a project here on Avalanche. Hey, did y'all have a question for Gabe?
Yeah, I did.
About conscious lines?
What's up, everyone? Thanks, Dom, for letting me up. It's Forrest here from the Friend Forest team, and Gabe was kind enough to support our community with some hug list. So we're super hyped, and we love the art and what you're doing. But I just wanted to know, like, in terms of community and the following steps, forgive me if you've already spoken about this, if you had any plans in terms of like building a Discord or something along the lines like that to keep the community getting to know each other or whatever it is.
I think more and more that I think about it, it is something I want to do. I mean, this has been a little bit of a shotgun wedding in that I had no idea when I jumped in kind of what could be built in a couple weeks, who I would meet. I just tend to be someone who jumps all in and gives everything I have. And so um, I think so far the community has really shown that level of support that says this is a place really worth building in. Whereas if you had asked me 3 weeks ago, I would have just said I have no idea, to be honest. So I mean, this will be a permanent home. Um, I'm. I want to be clear. I'm not. I'm not going to stop doing Ethereum NFTs or anything like that necessarily. But I think this is a place that I truly want to build at. And that being said, I really don't love Discord. So it would be more about kind of empowering some really good kind of moderators and stuff like that and maybe doing a once a month kind of Q&A AMA inside of a Discord. But yeah, my time is just so crazy right now that I just don't have a ton of time to be in Discord. But I think it's something that probably for sure will happen, but it goes back to that not wanting to overpromise. Like at least when I started, I just didn't want to say like this for a roadmap. But as I've kind of gotten this level of support, and now that I'm doing stuff with Chicken next, it feels like, yeah, definitely we'll need a Discord, and working on a website now that has quite a bit of onboarding materials for both fiat and ETH on how to make it a little bit easier for people to switch over. So yeah, definitely going to build out what I'm doing here with Conscious Lines, but I really appreciate the question and the thoughtfulness.
No, I feel you there, man, on the whole Discord thing. It's a bit of a love-hate relationship, especially if you want to be doing other stuff, building, making art, doing what you do best, it could be quite time consuming, right? To spend all the time chatting there, saying GM and whatnot. One more question, if I may. I was wondering why Avalanche, after being established on ETH, why did you choose to come to Avalanche? And was it recruiting maybe from Joe Pegs or Dominic here? Could you walk me through that a little?
Yeah, I mean, I'm real big on like enthusiasm, and Daniel and Uncertain, I think were the people that showed up to my this paint party I threw in New York. And just when you see that level of enthusiasm, it's intriguing. And then I come from politics, and I love to do my due diligence, but I started, like I said, listening to these podcasts, all access, and a means kind of discussion around subnets and scalability, but particularly these subnets and this understanding that it might, certain blockchains might need different utilities depending on certain jurisdictions. Like that rings true to me a lot more. So I think between that and then the speed that it's working, and just that because of Ava Labs and kind of like I I see it having a super long future, whereas like I've been recruited a lot to Tezos, which I think right now has a larger art community by quite a bit than Avalanche, but it's not necessarily something where 10 years from now, I think that chain is going to be doing really well. Whereas 10 years from now, I think Avalanche is going to scale kind of absurd.
Well, I think that is a fantastic place to end it. I really appreciate everyone's time. I really appreciate your time, Gabe. I know it's been probably a crazy last couple of days, weekend as well. So we're all super excited for what's to come here in the next few hours. Want to give you back a few minutes here, take the kids to school before the next spaces, and really appreciate your thoughtfulness and time with the questions and answers today.
Thank you so much for taking the time to do this. Really means the world to me. And yeah, I'm really excited for what I guess an hour and 12 minutes looks like. But I'm also just excited for, what the next several years looks like building with all of you. So
That's awesome.
thank you so much. And yeah, you're all appreciated. If you want to come hear me more, Red Bull's finally starting to kick in, so I might give some more cogent answers than I did here, and we'll be talking in about 10 minutes here with Joe Pegs. But big love and appreciation. Thanks, Dom. Thanks, everyone here. Thanks, Daniel. And talk to you all soon.